Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Bucks County Farmsim Gamer here. And as you can see, kind of late afternoon, just coming up to 4:30. Now, just picking up on what we did in the last episode, we kind of started our precision farming here at Bucks County, and we took our soil sample so we could understand the soil types that we've got across our fields, and we started doing some fertilising. And as you can see, if I just wander across to field 16, you can see that we've put manure down here, just up over here in field 17 as well. So that's our first stage of fertilising complete. Now, I did slightly misunderstand something when I read the information about precision farming and fertilising. In the help menu under the nitrogen value, it does state at the bottom the nitrogen level can be increased by applying either fertiliser or manure. Slurry or manure will increase the nitrogen level by a fixed value depending on the soil type. It is recommended to do this before preparing the field for the next sowing. Mineral and liquid fertiliser adjust the nitrogen level automatically to the crop requirements. If the crop is already planted, this should be done within the first growth state after sowing the crop. Now, I kind of slightly misunderstood that or misread it, in so much as that I thought you had to use slurry or manure before seeding or drilling sowing your crop, and that you could use then mineral or liquid fertiliser afterwards to adjust the nitrogen level to the appropriate amount. Now, that's not the case. You can use mineral and liquid fertiliser before you drill your crop as well. What it was suggesting is that if you are going to use slurry or manure, it is recommended that you do that beforehand, before sowing or seeding, and that would be logical because you wouldn't want to cover your kind of drilled new crop in its first growth stage with slurry or manure. So you don't have to use slurry or manure, you can use mineral or liquid fertiliser. So that was one thing to note. Now, next up, we need to look at the pH values for our fields as well. Now, originally, when I kind of looked at the map and looked at the pH levels, I was kind of thinking, yeah, they're sort of light sort of green colours. The pH values are fairly kind of neutral in the sort of 5.75 to 6.25 kind of range, and I figured that they might be okay. However, when we go out and walk the fields, you will see quite clearly that the pH values are not good. So if we wander around, across the field, we can kind of see that they vary between bad to very bad, that sort of situation. So we need to put lime down on our fields. That's our next kind of process, and we need to do that before we start doing some drilling. Now, we did do field 15 earlier. And as you can see, the pH value state in here is kind of perfect to good. So that's all okay. And we have gone ahead and drilled this field as well. As you can see, we've got clover growing in here as well. So we did that earlier on today. Now we need to go back and finish putting lime, spreading all on our other three fields. So we need to do field 16, 17 and down in 28, and then we can kind of start drilling our crops as well. So that's sort of next on the task really for today. Hopefully we'll get that finished up today as well, and then probably we will carry on with doing our drilling and everything tomorrow. Right, now, as you can see, Megan's going to be doing the lime spreading. So we are using course play, as you know. So I just need to check and make sure that we've got the course set up for this, and then I can get her set off, and she can get field 17 done, and then we'll move over to field 16 and do field 28 last. So if I just bring up the menu, we need to start in the kind of fertilising seeding section and do course generation. So we're in field 17, that's good. Current vehicle position, starting direction can be automatic. Now we do have obviously a little island that's in the middle of field 17. So we need to do bypass island, which I'll keep it simple. We're only using a single tool. I've got the working width set at 11.8 metres. I'd like to kind of just drop it slightly from the full width of the vehicle. Now headlands, we'll do a couple of passes, I think. And then clockwise, that's fine. We will start on the up and down rows first, smooth corners, bit of an overlap, 6%, and then we are good to go. So if I press space for course generation, it does take a little bit longer on this field, and that's partly because of the island, I think, and the fact that it's quite a quirky shape. So there we go. Okay, so that's good, and I will do first waypoint and then drive course, and then hopefully she will go off, find her first starting point, and start spreading some lime. Now, having come back out and walked across the field, I can see that the application of lime has made a bit of a difference, but it hasn't taken it up to the desired kind of level that it needs. So as you can see, we're kind of on a section that hasn't been done yet. If I just walk over to the area that it has been limed, you can see it's gone from 6.125 up to 6.25, but we're still not hitting the 6.75 kind of value that it needs to make sure that the pH value in the field is absolutely right. So it might be that we're going to have to go over this field a couple of times with lime possibly to bring that pH level up to what it needs to be. Right, we've got the drill all washed down, ready to start work, but I think we might have to hold off just a little bit to see how that lime application goes. And anyway, one of the other things that I wanted to look at with regards to precision farming is harvest contracts. Now, I've read a few comments on other YouTube videos where people have stated that they are struggling to complete harvest contracts because the yield potential in the fields is not what it needs to be to complete those contracts. So I guess to a certain degree, if the fields that you don't own are not being limed and not being fertilised, then it's highly likely that the yield potential in that field is not hitting the target that it should do. So when you come to do a harvest contract on it, if it's less than 100%, you're probably not able to fulfil the contract. I'm guessing that you need 100% in order to fill the contract. So I'm interested to see whether that's the case, and what the impact is if you look at kind of fields that where they do have an expected yield that's over 100%. So if we just have a little look at the contract. At the moment, there are field 20 is due, field 9, I think field 25 as well. So I want to sort of test this out a little bit, and obviously I don't want to do it on a big field and waste a lot of time, but field 20 is nearby. It's not too big, so we could look at doing that. Now, the interesting thing is when you come to look at the actual map itself, as you can see, the orange fields are the ones that need harvesting, and if we look at the selling price, though, when we click on those fields, we also get this additional field info in precision farming, which comes up, and as you can see, the expected yield potential for field 20 is 109%. Now that suggests to me that, and I'm guessing here, but if we're over 100%, we should be able to hit the contract and potentially have some additional income from taking that contract on. So what I want to do is I'm going to accept that contract. We'll go and harvest field 20. It's not particularly big, and we'll see how we get on. Conversely, if you kind of look at some of the other fields that are nearby, field 8, that's got a deficit, only 79%, so 21% down. So I'm guessing if that was up for a harvest contract and you took that one, chances are there wouldn't be the yield that you would actually need from the contract, and therefore the contract would fail. So I'm kind of interested to see how that works out, having read some of these comments before. So what I'm going to do is I'll accept the contract for field 20. That's just harvesting oats, taken to the animal stockyard. So I'll accept that. We'll use our own equipment. Makes sense to do that. So I'll go and get that sorted out, and I'll see you down at the field. So here we are down at field 20. I've set courseplay on to do this, which I must admit was a bit of a surprise because I thought you could only operate courseplay on fields that you own. But having taken the contract on this field, it's allowed me to do it, as you can see. So we'll see how the combine kind of gets on and how the yield kind of comes up. But if I have a look at the yield map here for the field, you can kind of see from the headland that I've cut out, it doesn't look particularly brilliant. There's kind of the bottom section of the field is kind of around what looks like maybe the 85, 90, 95% mark, but the kind of top section of the field is kind of in the orange and the red. So although we looked at the map beforehand and it kind of suggested there was 109% yield potential, I'm guessing that yield potential is only on the basis that you lime and fertilise correctly. So it will be interesting to see whether this will complete the contract and I'll get enough yield off it in order to be able to do that. Right, we finished the contract in field 20. We've got just short of 22,000 litres of oat in the trailer. And if we have a look at the yield map for field 20, as you can see, it's not particularly brilliant. A lot of the sort of top quarter of the field is probably only 70-75% yield potential, and then the bottom sort of 75% is predominantly kind of what looks like around about 85-90%, something like that. So that doesn't look brilliant, and I'm kind of guessing that we might struggle to actually hit the contract value itself. Now, if I do look at the contract, it says 84% complete, but of course we're reliant on taking that to the animal stockyard to sell the product, and then we'll see where we are. So I'm going to go off and do that. I'll get this sold, and then we'll see where we are and whether the contract does indeed complete. Right, so we're nearly at the animal stockyard. Let's just go in here and see whether this will actually give us the yield that we need to complete the actual contract itself. So I'm kind of really interested to see whether this will work now or not. We made $11,944 of harvest income. Okay, so that did work. So despite the fact that the yield potential in that field didn't look particularly brilliant, it has given us a good bit of harvest income, and it has completed the contract. So so that's pretty good, because I'd read in some comments on other videos that the harvest contracts weren't completing. So but on this occasion, for that particular field, we seem to do okay. Right, meanwhile, Megan's carrying on with doing the lime spreading. Moved over into field 16 now. Now, we did try and put another application of lime down on field 17, but it didn't make any difference. So we've moved over onto field 16, and we'll get that done, and then we'll just do field 28 a little bit later. But we'll get those finished this evening so we can kind of start drilling tomorrow. As you can see, if we just kind of stand where the tractor's going to go, at the moment I'm not quite sure if you can see the numbers down in the field info, but it's currently sitting at 6, and as the lime spreader goes past, that moves up to 6.125. So it is having a difference, but it's not going to the full level to make sure the lime is perfect. Well, so I was pretty pleased with that result, actually. It was an awful lot better than I thought it might be. Now, just having a look at the contract still, field 25, which is just over the other side of the road, is up for contract as well, with barley going to the central feed supply, which is not too far away. So I'm going to accept that one. And what I have noticed is on the field level, it's interesting, actually, that colour changed suddenly, didn't it? Wonder why that was. But if I have a look at the yield potential for this one, it says 122%. So that suggests, kind of pretty high. But as we could see beforehand when we were doing field 20, when we were actually started to harvest, the yield potential seemed to be kind of lower. So again, I'm kind of expecting this one to do fairly well. So we'll get on with this one, and we'll see how things progress. Right, as you can see, we've almost finished harvesting field 25. Now, the harvest contract is already completed on this field, so everything that's in the combine and in the trailer will become harvest income for us, so that's pretty good. So it looks like this field is going to yield pretty well for us as well. And you'll notice that Megan was up drilling carrots up in field 16, so she'd finished all the lime spreading and started drilling as well, so hopefully she'll get that field finished up this evening. So we're getting on pretty well. And we've also taken contracts on field 9 for harvesting as well, so that's pretty good. So we ended up in total with just over 19,000 of harvest income, plus the 11 that we got for the contract itself, so 30,000 on this field, which is pretty good. So we've moved the combine up just to the bottom of field 16. It's just over the road from field 9. So we've picked up the header and parked the combine up, so we're going to get that all ready for tomorrow morning. And you can see Megan just over the top of the reel there, so she's just finishing off field 16 as well. A couple of times around the headland and she'll be all done. Almost dark now. You can see the sun's pretty much set. Lovely moon there just off in the distance over the hill. So overall we've had a pretty good day, and those harvest contracts certainly seem to be yielding pretty well. So despite the fact that the yield potential in the fields kind of looked low in terms of the colour grading, they seem to be yielding fairly good for us. So can't see on this particular map that there's much of an issue regarding those contracts. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it interesting. So thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, then please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on that notification bell. And if you'd like to leave a comment down below, then please feel free to do so. So take care wherever you are, and I'll catch you on the farm next time. Bye for now.